instance though. A new live stream on YouTube. Let's see if it works. I'll send a link into the chat. Oh, well, I guess I'll just keep going. It is what it is. I want to see here. Technical difficult. Try to resolve these technical difficulties. I don't even know what they are. It's annoying. So annoyed. Jesus Christ. Oh well, sorry about that. I know, but it's annoying because I just, you know, created a just like a weak instance of a live stream, you know what I mean? There's no like title on it, there's no game linked to it, so people are just gonna have to guess what I'm doing. You know. See if I can update that while this is going in. So I was saying, I don't know if you heard me because you might have got cut off, but I'm just, we'll play more interesting content in a minute. I just got to get a blueprint so I can get my catalyst farming in research. I make my catalyst in research. But I think we were talking about the developers, like their approach to content, like the way they're delivering it. So what we were saying, what I was saying was like they're going as fast as possible, but they're doing it incrementally, so that they don't do something like the Freyna situation. I think that's where we left off. So they created a Freyna and now they can't walk her back, right? So she's basically a monster. They let the monster out of the bag and they can't get it back in. And they basically ruined the character for many people. Maybe it's just me, but I think there's some other people out there like me where it's like, she's so strong, I don't use her. I'm using her right now for a very boring or any basic boring farming activity that is brainless and I don't want to think about it and I just want to stand here and point and shoot. I'm using a mobbing build right now. You know what I mean? I'm using a mobbing build to take this dude down. You know what I mean? So, and it's not even hard. I'm just fucking standing here and pulling the trigger. And it's just like, it's just, I mean, it's great when you're trying to farm something, but when you're trying to have an engaging battle, it's not. And so I think they realize that and they just want to make kind of smarter decisions, release something, get a little bit of feedback, make it better, get a little bit of feedback. So it's a challenge. The challenge that they face though with this approach is obviously, you know, we love this game, but we need to have fun too. So we need that content now, right? We need that new content now. So like I was saying, you know, I just got 3 of the same fucking blueprints back to back. It's annoying, and that's why I don't want to be doing that kind of activity, right? And so, you know, people like me that are highly invested in this game, people that are like you who have every descendant, every weapon, you know, it's like, why we don't want to, you know, where's the farming, right? There isn't any farming. And so that's what they're prioritizing, is not just the farming, but the content for the core player, because they need to normalize this, is I guess one way to say it, keep us engaged in the repeatable play loop. Make sure that's there for us before they start introducing too much of the other stuff. So I like their approach, but time is of the essence. But, you know, one of the things I was thinking about is like, I'm not a big fan. Here's a Toxic Fusion one with Blue Beetle. I'm not a big fan of like their philosophy on farming overall. You know, I'm not saying like the Division 2 is the right way, but it's definitely better because it really never really ends. I mean, if you have a build in mind, you know, you have a new farming quest that you can take on for yourself. You know what I mean? And as the game evolves, then so do the builds, and then so does the farming along with it. They're all very much connected. But the way that these developers have it now, is my voice a little bit low? I can turn it up. Shouldn't be low though. Turn it up a little bit. All right, hopefully that's a little bit louder. I try not to be screaming in your ears. But yeah, my audio is all funky right now because I just made a major, well, not a major, but I just updated my software on my computer, and it broke my, the middleware, the software that allows me to fine tune my audio. So I still have audio, but now I can't fine tune it like I could before because it says that I didn't download it correctly. Stupid. I didn't download anything. But with the new software update, it gave me that error. Now I'm trying to troubleshoot it. Annoyed. But yeah, so like with the Division 2, like the farming never ends. But in this game, like when you have everything, you're done. You know? And that's quite achievable for serious players, right? There it is. So, you know, it doesn't take, it's not that, like, if you're used to grind, I know a lot of people were like, well, you know, not everybody has all day to play video games, whatever. But, like, yeah, but if you're used to playing looter shooters that are relatively grindy, like, the First Descendant's not a big deal. I mean, it was in the beginning, but every week it goes by. But even in the worst of the First Descendant, I was crossing shit off of my list. You know what I mean? Back in the day when you had to stand at a outpost and have 5-minute waiting times in between, you know, even then I was crossing shit off my list, and it sucked. I'm not saying I enjoyed it, but I'm saying like it's not that grindy. And yes, it is RNG based, but you know, it's basic. You still, you know, just like any game with the First Descendant, you have to have game strategy. You have to have a strategy. You have to multitask, you know, and multitasking is the way to avoid the grind, you know.
That's why humans need us so desperately.
It's basics. All right, that's good. Now we can get back into some real fights. We'll get into some Sharon stuff. Let's take her into some 400s so we can keep her fresh on our mind. Let me delete some stuff here real quick. So, but that's the part that I don't really like, and I'm hoping something more comes out of it. It kind of, the stopping gap, ends up being the catalyst. It all kind of comes down to the catalyst, because it's what limits our building, our real building capabilities, right? It's like you kind of, it's expensive to create builds in the form of time and effort. It's not just farming, it's catalysts, and it's 7.5 hour wait time. So really, a lot of it is around that, and why we're just not here tinkering and constantly experimenting with stuff. But the other part of it, it's also by design, because they have it so, like, you know, you go out there and you craft your weapon, and you have one weapon, you build it out, and you're done. You know, the meta is crit based on most weapons, and then you're done with it. You know, and you know, more mod systems, external components can expand things a lot, but it does come down to the catalyst, because it's got to be less expensive, less risky to tinker with our builds. We got to be allowed to make mistakes, and we don't have that ability right now. You got to build something and be like, nah, this build sucks, you know. I don't use sound control on the map. On the Mac, I use a sound control. It's called Wavelink, and it's a software that comes or made by Elgato. But I integrate with OBS, you know, the streaming software. So let's see, we got the fortress, which is always the quarantine zone. And then we have the shelter. We'll do both of them. Let's start at the shelter. But like, I'm really happy with the 400%. Like, I feel like that should be the base level difficulty of everything in the game, you know? But when you play in group, it gets significantly easier. Sometimes, and then when you get somebody running the meta, like a Bunny or a Freyna, then it gets too easy and you don't even feel like you're fighting. Then you feel like you have to run a Bunny. But here's a crazy thing I gotta say. Like, I was talking about this with, I think, you, Grumpy, the other day. It was like, I rather take 2 or 3 times even longer to complete a dungeon and use a character that's more engaging, that gets me more into the fight, more immersed into the fight. That's the word I'm looking for. A more immersive experience. I'd rather do that and take twice as long or 3 times as long, whatever, to finish this one mission than run it with Bunny or Freyna. Why? Because I don't really need any of the rewards, do I? No, because I already have everything. You get it? You see the loop there? So like, why do I need to hurry up and rush through this experience? Why? To get the patterns that I don't need because I have everything? Why? You know what I mean? It's about the fight. It's always been about the fight. And that's the part that these devs need to remember. It's always fight first, rewards second. It's gotta be about the experience of the fight. And and they're working this out, they're getting here, but because and they made some really good points in this live stream, because they started out with monetization first, that means they started with a rewards first system. You know what I mean? And because they started with a rewards first system where we run out of things to play, you know? In a funny way, because everything's built on that, right? Like if you're not getting a reward, why play it? And then because you're always farming, you got to speed through this mission. It's not about enjoying the fight. It's just kind of dumb. Because I want to shoot things. I want to hear the crunch of these skulls. You know what I mean? I don't get a special trophy for speedrunning this, you know? And that's why, like, I want to do live streams, like with players, and do like host let's play sessions, you know? But I want to do it like have themes to help support people that are looking to get more out of their game than just playing with the easiest character. So like going like only weapon platform day, or only ice players, or only toxic players, or you know what I mean, or anything but bunny, you know. Like hosting these kind of streams. So her shock nuts are like really OP. I mean, I can keep this guy in a permanent loop of like never coming out of his stun phase. I mean, look at this shit. And there's the gear set or the external components that synergizes with the stun effect. So you could use the shock nuts to reset skills if you wanted to. The thing is, her skills are already on like this really short cooldown, or you know, you can refresh her cooldown. But because of Sharon's cloaking capabilities, you can just like coast your way through these 400%. She really does. Like, I made a comment the other day in a video about her, and I said in my video, doing 400% infiltrations with Sharon is easier than Glay, Enzo, and Haley as examples. And all simply because you could just go invisible. I mean, like if you were in health trouble, you know, you go invisible and go get your health just like that, right? Sneak up, reposition. Look at it. I mean, they're just standing there. Like a bunch of idiots. You know? And she works with LMGs and shit like that too. I mean, it's not her forte. I think they're possibly making that a bunch better. We'll see with her mods. That one mod called Ambush is saying that on kill, you'll be able to go invisible instantly. You don't have to trigger it. It'll automatically send you into invisibility mode. And so I don't know if that's going to be with only her skills like it is now, because that's the downside is right now, it's only skills. Yeah, so anyways, going back to the farming thing, it's like I want to keep farming. I want to be farming more reactors. I want 10 reactors for each descendant. I want, or something. You know what I mean? I'm just using an example. This game doesn't work like that at all. You know what I mean? So they're adding that ability though. So I'm complaining, but there is a solution. So one of the things that they're bringing in is, I forget what they call it, but it's a new system where you're going to be able to re-roll or actually customize your weapon so that it fits your playstyle. So actually change or enhance stats a certain way to fit your playstyle. So that's really cool. New weapon system, enhancement system. But one of the questions that was asked in an interview to the devs was, will we see transcendent mods for weapons? And the response was interesting to me. The answer is no, it's not in the plan right now. Because they see weapons as a... it kind of plays the role of a transcendent mod. You know what I mean? Like, they see it as like, it synergizes with the character and it changes the experience and how you use that character. And it's pretty... Oops, I fucked that up. They're pretty right on. I think I see their point there. I get it. Bad jump. No, not that again. Keeps grabbing that flagpole. Hold on. I swear I know how to use my harpoon. Keeps grabbing that flagpole. So yeah, that's kind of why they're making a big deal about the weapon rebalancing and getting the weapons right on this current state of weapons that we have, because it's going to improve our builds. Our builds are going to be worked around them to some degree. And then they have this new weapon system, tailoring system. So I'm looking forward to that. And then our reactors are going to get stronger. So that's the way we're going to get more power. I'm going to be able to level up our reactors. Right now we can level them up twice, but it'll go to 5. Who wants my blade? You guys? Like this. You know what I really like about Sharon is that she can mob. She's not the fastest, but she's really good at taking out the end bosses. You know, the 2 dudes you find at the end. Like with Bunny has a hard time with those guys, right? You can get pretty far with Bunny and coast through this front part real fast, but when it comes to the bosses with Bunny, depending on your build, they can be a big pain in the butt. It depends on how efficient you go with the mobbing side. Like if you use high voltage, then the bosses are a little bit easier. But if you're not using high voltage because you wanted a more efficient mobbing build, get more AoE, then the bosses become harder. For one, I would really like to make use out of our external components. Kind of tired of those feeling like a wasted slot, you know? We use them for our HP points and that's it for the most part. What up, Jimbo? I think so, Sarah. They weren't specific, but it did come up in one of those interviews about being able to put specific stats on our reactors. Something is coming for us on the reactors down low in the lower section of the reactor. I don't know what it is, but they're where we want more out of that area, and they are working on it. I think we're gonna see it this season, also season 2. The question is, will we see it up front in the first patch? I don't think so. Tossed right there. Gotta take out Mr. Bowles. See how you're punished right there? So I used my gun, and because I did that, I didn't get an auto reset on my stealth. So that's what I'm hoping we get a fix on. You can be punished for using a weapon. Quick with his explosions. Damn it, that happened twice. Toast! The optical sword's badass. He regens if you don't kill him fast enough. Off of me, maggots. Yeah, so it'll be interesting, I think, you know, with the proper attention to some of her AoE things. It's mostly the sequence, right? The amount of steps you have to do. So, because you have to go invisible, take your acquire your shot, take your shot, go invisible. So I think if they smoothen that process up, you can clear this easy 30% faster. Okay, let's go take on the other one. Do I like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that question about release cutting fours. Not really. It's quite weak, I feel like. Doesn't make the best use out of her crits either, because it doesn't have the quantity of impact. So you end up having to spam it a lot. It's this constant spamming where you're not even using her other skills as much because you have to spam that thing so damn much just for it to do anything remotely close to her other ones. So it doesn't really feel like it's worth it. It's workable. It's fun, you know, just to tinker with a couple of times. But yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of it. I haven't even completed a run with it using it all the way. I've just kind of tinkered just to see how it works, and it's looking for its flaws and stuff like that. I mean, it could be interesting if you're looking to play into something that applies status effects to something before you kill them to get more damage out of things. But, you know, this game and its pace doesn't allow for a heck of a lot of that. Yeah, not when you have these swords. I mean, they need to make this right here where we're seeing her default setting for Void Domination. I mean, it's fucking powerful. But, and then open up her mod for something else, you know? So that's what you're really dodging, is their freeze effect. That's what I'm targeting, are the freezers. The cryo dudes. I could just hide behind the rock too, but you know, it's more fun. So you get clobbered like that. You can do everything without ever coming out of here. So back here is the safe spot. You can fight the whole thing from right here. The other thing is, like, I figured out that she's so strong, like, you know, I have her peeked out right now, you know what I mean? But, like, if we broke that mentality, what else could we do? You know, things in the game kind of get more interesting if we're willing to break that mentality. The problem is, I'm definitely willing to do that. You know, look for more fun and interesting combinations than always just going for, like, the meta version of that character. Again, it goes back to the catalyst cost of such an activity. You know what I mean? I think the willingness would be there more if it wasn't such a pain to do. Gotta be real careful with that freeze. Sorry, it's kind of being lazy there. Okay. Head in the game, head in the game. Gangbangs, yeah. It's annoying when they get in there like that. You can't move. That's like literally the thing, right? You get locked in all of these dudes. You know what's interesting? I just not thought about is talking about Inez coming into the game here. She's gonna be an electric dealer too, right? And we were wondering earlier, like, what's gonna be her thing because you know they said AOE at first when they first introduced her to us. We're like, well, Bunny's AOE electric, so we already got that, right? First of all, I'm glad she's electric though because electric's pretty damn powerful in this game. If you notice that, the electric weapons, anything electric is like, damn. But her differentiator is that she's also going to be AOE, but she's going to be more of a range AOE. But, well, what is Sharon going to be then? What does that make Sharon, you know? Isn't she range? I mean, I know she's not so AOE, but they're trying to pick up her AOE. One of those is gonna get the head. Ah. We need to work on some of these guys' heads. You know, it's really hard to get a headshot from the rear because they have these big ass collars. Yeah, I think our next ultimate needs to be a fire descendant though. Like a fired ultimate. Maybe it's, I kind of hope it's not Blair, but you know, I'm just not a big fan of Blair. mean, he's all right. I think it'd be kind of out of the box to go for somebody like Essimo, you know? Essimo's pretty fucking cool. He is so much fun to play. I mean, he's a lot of work on your fingers, though. On your controller, he puts some mileage on it. Lepic would be kind of cool too. I don't think Lepic needs many adjustments though. I think he's pretty good as he is.
I'll make sure I deal with you.
I'm sure I'll take buffs to anybody. What's also interesting about Sharon is she's really efficient on the mana. She's not very expensive. Yeah. Pentiment bumpers broken. Exactly. This is fucking Essimo. God damn it. Yeah, I'm using paddles right now. I gotta get a new controller. I guess it's that time of the year where all my tech have technical difficulty on everything, right? Doesn't it make you sad that you leave behind all of this loot? What kind of looter shooter leaves loot on the ground? Oh, reinforcements. I'm glad they're making the inversion reinforcement better too. Like, I don't even go in and change my settings. You know, once I earn them all, I pick the best ones and I don't tweak it anymore. They said that they're going to give us the ability to have presets for it to make it easier. But making them more enticing. Looks like you got that covered. Do that hit, buddy. There's more, don't worry. Really? Could be like that. Make me use my sword on you. There it is. You earn your yeah, you can upgrade your inventory. Their inventory or amount, it's weird. I have mixed feelings about the inventory because it's quantity-wise, it's on par with what you'd expect for a looter shooter. And all the looter shooters that have tried and failed and have won with me in the past, I don't know, 10 years, they've all been the same. You know, Starfield was like that too, where you were just starved for inventory at the beginning. The thing is that it is true with this game, you actually don't need that much inventory. You don't. Because like it's all for the same reasons we were talking about earlier. Like why do you even need to farm? Once you get your weapon, you're done. You know, once you get your character, you only need 1 or 2 reactors per character. Why have more? There is no real reason to have more. So your inventory would need to expand based on how many descendants they introduce, but because building is entirely the easiest, it's not an easy process, but lean on resources process, I should say, then, you know, you're not going to have 10 Glay builds. You're going to have maybe 2 or 3 Glay builds and hope everything fits inside of that box. So the answer is yes, you have to pay for inventory, but you also earn inventory expansion for free a couple of ways. So one is just by increasing your mastery rank, you increase. And then the other one is the weekend vendor gives you a couple of free slots for free every week. So by which you earn tokens to buy. So it's a slow growth, but it is a growth. It is, and it actually helps. But the problem is that you need inventory to farm efficiently, and that's where inventory comes into play. You know, if you're looking for a reactor, they drop so much shit on you. That you don't want to stop to look at all of that shit, you know? You want to collect it, all that crap in your backpack and deal with it later. You just kind of sort through it all at once when you're done farming. See, like, I don't even have a good headshot on that guy. There it is. Trying to jump my bones, aren't they? Need a nice clean shot of this dude. hit them with your electricity before you go invisible to escape, and they're down there taking damage over time. Alright. Missed again. See, I'm pretty sure they didn't count that as a headshot either.
Shields are down.
Oh, he got me, you fucker. Yeah, it's hard. You gotta be careful with that. Kinda. Yeah, Alice. That sounds about right. He's food.
Loading.
Let's thin the herd, shall we?
Loading.
Clean headshot. So what I like to do is use the swords on the balls. Gotta wait till they're not immune though.
Down.
No fucking heads in the back. at those balls, buddy. Getting risky, aren't I? I know. It's hard to snipe them sometimes because they're always walking away from me and I don't get a good headshot. Which Xbox, which grapple comment? Oh yeah. That was happening to me earlier today, actually. Yeah, like right there, that was a clean one, right? But sometimes, I was doing one earlier with Enzo, and I was just trying to get up something just like this. And it was swinging me to the side, so I was hitting something, and it wasn't letting me get to my objective. And I wasn't doing anything. I was just straight up pointing high and going up like that. Hey, look at this spot. It's a good little executor spot. Yeah, where you kind of fishtail it your way up there. What up, Afro? That one took longer than it should have, I think. Yeah, but speaking of stash space, like I don't have any of that. Oh, which reminds me, I gotta combine these weapons. Yeah, grinding is always me. Kind of grinding, kind of not. I mean, one of these days I need to come in here over the next day or two, actually probably tomorrow. And I need to, I've just been spending in here mostly. So I've driven my gold down quite a bit. I mean, I've been loading up on all the resources, like resources for weapon upgrading and, what do you call it? Reactor and implant reactor and all those types of resources, weapon readjustment resources. So I've been crafting. That stuff costs millions of gold, right? So yeah, I need to spend a day just farming gold, get up to at least 100 million and park it. I'm okay with 100 million. It takes a while to get down from 100 million, especially when you have everything. And so I started leveling weapons that I don't use just because I know the devs are going to upgrade them just to get it out of the way because I didn't have anything else to farm for. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, I farmed everything, so let me just level this weapon that I don't even like right now, you know, and I don't plan on using. So yeah, I farmed it up and crafted a bunch of them and mashed them all together. Did that to every weapon. There's only one I haven't finished, or 1 1/4. So right now I'm just finishing up my Divine Punishment, and then the other one is, I think, the Last Dagger. Yeah, so this is the last weapon for me. Last Dagger. And then technically there's Excava. Can you farm Excava beyond this point though? I'm not sure you can. Let me look. Yeah, it's not even on here, is it? Is it? Yeah, so it's not even on here, so you can't. Beyond the rewards track. Dumb. It was battle pass only, right? But they didn't give you enough pieces to get it all the way to 4, so you know what I mean? What do we do? Yeah, I'm not farming it. I'm using the you know, those points, those weapon points from the store, the vendor, the new Nexon 30 event or whatever. That's what I'm using. I'm just spending those. It should get me close enough.
Oh, the special human child. What do you need?
And then otherwise, oh, here's my last Divine Punishment, so we can finish this. Because I also have a lot of gold in like the bank, you know, all of those kind of like bounty rewards you used to get. Like I've never cracked those open, so I'm sitting like on just a good 40 million back there, maybe more. Like I might as well use them now, I guess. There we go. It's all battle pass on Alice. They need to open that up to ETA 0, you know? Let's speaking of battle pass, I better look into that, huh? So with the premium one, yeah, there it is right there. And it's not good enough to buy the battle pass for it, is it? No way. And then it looks like I can get my last reward. Yay. Almost forgot about this. I don't like these wings, these digital wings. Kind of weird. I actually don't like that mask. Do you guys like that? It's a little, I don't know. I mean, it's cool that you reveal some of her face, but what is it, Voltron? Yeah, it's mid, right? Volby's was okay, though. I was excited to get that one. Where's hers? This one. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, they don't make their battle pass as much of a big deal as it should be for a game that's free. I mean, this battle pass should be hot, you know? We'll see next season, though, right? Hopefully they've learned. I mean, there were some things that came up today, right? Like, they have to be making bank, right? Like, some serious bank. I know their financial reports was showing that they were making some good money from this game, but it didn't say how much. It just was showing, like, percentage of revenue and revenue growth, but it didn't say how much. But it looked good. You know, what it didn't, but what had me curious is, you know, they made the decision. I mean, think of how stupid this little decision is. I mean, it's great, but they decided to make things like this outfit that I'm wearing potentially usable on other descendants, right? And now some people like the descendant, like the schoolgirl outfit, so they bought it 3 times, one for Volby, one for Bunny, one for Sharon. And so they're making it now so that you only need to buy it once and you can equip it to all the applicable descendants. And because of that, they're going to refund everybody who bought multiple of those in the past, you know, which they don't have to do, but they're going to. And yeah, that's nice. It builds trust. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. It's actually a very smart move because it's building trust with the community. It's like, wow, you know, they're thinking about us first. But what's interesting about that is they told us what their loss in revenue is over that decision. It's $1 million hit to the Nards. $1 million over something so stupid. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's like over $1 million. I would have been like, man, well, you guys are cool with, you know. You should have just given them another outfit, a free outfit gift or something as a way of compensating. But to take the hit by refunding actual caliber, that's crazy. That means they got, my point is though, that means they're probably making some serious bank to be able to make decisions like that, right? Because they got investors to report to, you know? Oh, you know what I should do is I should be doing invasion. We'll do that. Thank God invasions are fast because they are boring, aren't they? They're way too easy. Sharon is good in invasions though. The ones with the tumors, you can take out all the tumors on all the pillars in one strike. Yeah, it's caliber. It's digital money. Yeah. It's true. Sounds worse than it really is, huh?
That's laughter. Unseen.
Better get some life. One of these days I'm gonna count how many enemies get at least. I want to say it's 400. What do you guys think? It feels like more than 400. It feels like 1,000. Yeah, finding devs that care about their community is hard to find. Y'all report to the mighty dollar, don't they?
Entering stealth state.
It seems so fucking basic, though, you know. I feel like this flagpole didn't used to be there, and it's there now just to irritate me.
Unseen.
Sucker. What? Watch a sniper back there. They need to do something with purple weapons. They're absolutely useless. I mean, they were never useful. Not even in normal mode. Really?
Damn. Activating stealth. Entering the stealth stage.
Yeah, they buffed her CM Rock. It's crazy. Because now she's like, she's the strongest character in the game. And kind of ruins a lot of content. We kind of have a split community on that concept. Some people are like, oh, she's great, she's perfect, quit crying. They love to say quit crying, right? And the other people were like, oh, but she ruins the content. Like you go in group mode and there's 3 Freynas, and Freyna's so strong that she slaughters everything before, even what Freyna, you don't even need 3. Because she takes the easiest content and just glides through it, man. Literally gliding through it. It's crazy. And it was cool for a minute. You're like, wow, she feels great. She feels awesome, right? And then after a while, I was like, oh, well, now everything is so easy. Like, everything. And then they made harder content, but she even makes the harder content still really easy. You know? I mean, like, the hardest content that the game has to offer, you run, like this game mode I'm playing right now. Like, if I was using her, I mean, I'd just be gliding. This would have been done 10 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's that easy. You don't even have to think. You could be eating a burrito while slaying enemies, you know? It's crazy. But she's fun to use. She's nice, but extremely boring if you're looking for a good fight. And I'm always looking for a good fight, you know? Like, I run builds like even in the Division 2 that make the game easy. But that game never really gets easy. The reason why the game is really easy in the Division 2 is just because we haven't memorized. It's not really a build in the end. Like even my XP farm build, it's not really the build. You know, you give that to a new player, the game isn't easy. But in this game, you give a Freyna build to a new player and the game is actually easy for that player. There's no skill required. But in the Division 2, the game gets easy because we memorize it, right? Like we know where the spawn doors are. We know what, you know, we're well accustomed to the content. In any game could be that way. So nothing wrong with that. So yeah, no, she's good. I mean, if you're looking for power, she brings it. And so she's so easy, you can use her basically on everything. But because she's so so powerful, I basically only use her on the weakest content in the game. That's what's happened. So I use the strongest descendant on the weakest content in the game. You know, and that's me. I'm, you know, not everybody, but I do believe there's a certain portion of the community in any game that is looking for a good fight out of a looter shooter, not just to coast through it, you know. And it was the same problem with Bunny. It was the same problem with Bunny. Bunny's boring. You probably noticed when I was streaming this a lot. I've never used Bunny. And Freyna makes Bunny look weak. She does. Being Freyna's stronger than Bunny now. Bunny's still a little bit faster, of course, in movement, no doubt. And still has her use cases either, so Bunny's not useless. She's got great use case. some content where I rather move faster and use her electric AoE than Freyna's poison, even though Freyna's stronger and clear the content basically in the same amount of time. But movement speed has its advantages. Yeah, I can totally. Yeah, we can coast through this in a minute, man. Yeah, let me grab my gear. It's crazy. It's crazy, dude. It's laughable. Let me move and come back. And people come out here flexing like, you know, they flex in this game. This is how they flex with Freyna. They get in a game, they stand in one spot, they cast their skill, and they don't fucking move. And it's really annoying. They just stand there. They put out one shot with their skill, their poison, and then they never move. And that's how they flex in this game. And it's just like, dude, we all have a fucking Freyna build. You're not special. You know? It's boring. How can you be playing like this? You know? Different folks, different strokes, right? But it does irritate me. I do get irritated. Okay, so let me just delete this real quick. So pretty standard mobbing build here, you know. So you could change some things for preferences, but I run Dangerous Ambush. Why do I have Dangerous Ambush on this? That's not supposed to be there. I think I changed that on accident. Do I put Dangerous Ambush on this? Do I normally have that there? Why would I do Dangerous? I can't remember now. I haven't actually looked at the build in a while. No, that's supposed to be Decimator. I think I screwed that up. Hold on. I think I was fucking around with her and I forgot to switch it back. Decimator, 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 where are you? I mean, I'm sure you can use Dangerous Ambush, but Decimator. There we go. Oh, maybe because I was shooting the boss. That's why I was doing that at some point. Because right now, the only time I'm using Freyna is just to go into the void, kill the boss. Okay, so Decimator, pretty standard setup here. So, you know, skill damage, no crits. There's no crits. It's all basically skill damage on her elements. And then Decimator. Contagion. You don't have to run Contagion. Technically, it weakens her, but it increases the spread. So it makes it even easier. It's kind of a lazy play. And then if I really want to go strong, I'll hold the Secret Guardian in my hand. But I do use the Fallen Hope just because I like using it more, even though I know it's weaker. But she's so fucking strong, who cares? And then just a standard Slayer set. And this standard Toxic Mechanics Reactor. And then I have Toxic and Tech there. So, all right, let's go in there. Oh, it changed on us. Okay, so we're now in the Haven or the Chapel. Let's do the Chapel. Yeah, good guess, Grumpy. I don't remember making that change. That's what's funny, though. Like, even though I justified it, I was like, must have been because I was fighting bosses. I don't remember doing that. Because I wouldn't... I was killing that boss with the Contagion mod on, right? And so you don't need really Dangerous Ambush for the boss, but... And that's how the whole thing is gonna go, bro. I mean, one hit and they're all fucking dead. Look at this. Look at this, dude. It's still going. That's the one hit. It's still going. They're still ticking. It's about to wear out though. Nope, there they go. The whole room cleared with one fucking hit. And that was my weakest skill, bro. That was my weakest skill. I'm not kidding you. That was my number 1, which is the weakest skill. So her strongest is obviously her 4, and then you got the puddle, and second's a defense. So, and I made it weaker because I'm running contagion. You know, so you can be stronger than this. But I've chosen more spread over power. So you can choose more power over spread and still have spread. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But this is just a lazier build. It's one cast and done. And obviously that works. So obviously you want to spread the love around so more people die about it. I can kill this one without shooting. She's taking ticks by shooting toxic armor. See that? It's not very powerful, but there you go. I mean, just dumb. No, it's great. It's actually great. It's pretty cool. So if you're looking to farm this because you need a pattern and you have to do this content over and over, it serves a purpose. So it's not like bad when you need it. But what it did for me was turn my main character, or one of my favorites. She was one of my favorites. You guys remember in the early days, right? I was like, oh man, I don't know who's my favorite. It's either Freyna or Sharon. I kept going back and forth, and ultimately ended up being Sharon. Probably by default though, because part of it was because she was required for the outposts, and so it made her more important to have. So I ended up focusing on Sharon more, but I mean, you can't tell, but these are hundreds of enemies back here. Hundreds. They're dying so fast you can't tell. Hundreds. I mean, but that's a boss that just died right there. Bosses are dying in here. And I'm not bragging or flexing. Anybody can make this build, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take any talent, you know? Or skill to play. And that's fine, and some people are looking for that. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm just saying, like, it's not for me because I'm looking for a challenge. And that's why they ruined her for me, because she's not a challenge. And it's kind of weird, you know? It's a weird thing to do to a character. It's just like, wow, so by buffing a character, making her strong, it all starts with Bunny. So the reason why Freyna sucks is actually Bunny's fault. So because Bunny was so strong, they had to make Freyna, that was the bar that they were working up towards, that they were measuring against, I should say. And so she had to be as strong or stronger than Bunny, and she came out stronger than Bunny. Well, great, either way. But it kills all the other descendants, every other descendant, you know? And so the problem is like, for people like me, it's not an actual problem. It does ruin her for me. Oops, that didn't launch. Because some people just have a hard time not using the meta, right? Some people are like, I use the meta and that's all I use. Why would I use another character? And they have a hard time with that, you know? I personally don't. Like, well, I use this character because I like her more, I identify with her more. I like her, she's more tactile, like Sharon. Like, I like Sharon better, genuinely, than Freyna. But I really do like Freyna because, you know, I like our Eclipse Protocol build in the Division as an example, you know? But Sharon's got this, like Sam Fisher feeling to her, just, you know, ninja, assassin in the shadows. I like that. So it's just my style. But some people, it's not about style, right? It's not about which descendant do I like. It's a matter of what is the best, and that's the meta. Like the people in the Division 2. Well, I use the Striker not because I like it better, because it's the meta. I use there's so many people that would use the F2000 before, in Lexington, for example, because that's what it said on paper was the best gun. That's it, you know? Because math said so, you know? And, you know, I believe math over anything, you know, in-game experience or how it actually performs, you know? The game could do shit, but they're going to use it anyways because it's got the best DPS in the game. I mean, think about how many people are out there using the Bighorn, right? Because it's top-tier assault rifle. But there's just no way that these people are performing with the Bighorn. There's just no way, you know? Oh, damn it, I'm getting my ass kicked. But, you know, so the problem isn't that these people find that fun, because who is anybody to tell anybody what's fun, right? That's for you to decide. So the problem is the developer is balanced, right? Balance. The developers have to manage that, and because of Bunny, and they can't nerf her, they had to use her as the tool of measurement, and that sucks. It's a perpetuating problem, right? The problem that's gonna create more problems, But the problem ends with Freyna, and not a lot of people know that. The problem ends with Freyna. So they are very aware of it, and if you read between the lines and what they're saying, you'll catch that there's going to be a nerf on Freyna coming. They're just being very conservative about it, and they're doing it in small ways, and so I think it's the art of distraction is what we're looking for here. And as far as God damn, that was mine. What they're looking to do, this is my guess, I don't know this for a fact, but I do know they're gonna, not as a fact, but my expert opinion is they will nerf her. And I'm basing that off of the responses of things and their agreement that Freyna is overpowered, and they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do, but they're not just gonna nerf her. They're very conservative about nerfing. So, you know, I'm waiting for a health pack. There's not a lot of cover over here. This guy wails on me. me. That's cool. This is why I need to switch to my assault rifle. Keep it distance.
Watch your feet. Ah, my shield.
Boss face is hard. Free ultimate bunny. Yeah, free ultimate bunny. You heard that right. Yeah, it's gonna be one of these check-in rewards. So one of the things they're looking at doing is one of their smart answers about the Freyna issue is that they're looking at creating more diversified content that caters to different descendants, so one descendant doesn't destroy all, which is what we have with Freyna, right? You can take her into any Colossus fight, any dungeon, and just crush everything. So that's one of their answers, but it's like, well, okay, that sounds nice, but the reality is how long is that gonna fucking take? You know what I mean? And what kind of content can you make where a Freyna and a bunny can't go in and crush it? Sounds hard. You know what I mean? Sounds hard. So, yeah, so that's the problem. It all starts with Bunny. She was way overpowered from the get-go, marketing ploy. The content was too easy. They didn't expect their audience, their core audience, to be such grinders. We got two things. So I think that the people that are coming from, this is my opinion, is that the people that are coming from the looter shooter worlds of games, I think that they think that Freyna and Bunny is boring and too easy and makes the game too easy, and the game is too easy before those characters. Then I think your casual, kind of newer players or intermediate players, but mostly casual players, they like and also need the Freyna and the Bunny because they don't have the array of tools that the more looter shooter grinder player has at his fingertips or her fingertips, you know, because they're spending more time playing and they're building, you know, fully catalyzed builds. I get comments in the comment section saying, well, like, oh, well, you know, not everybody has 10 catalysts on their descendants. It's like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like, well, there's your first problem, right? Like, put 10 catalysts in your descendant. Why would you not put 10 catalysts in your descendant? You know, like, what? Like, so there's different mentalities around it, right? Like, some people are looking for a no catalyst Freyna build, and that's how they want to play. And for them, they're going to need a really strong descendant for that, you know? But then you have the other, so this is the divided community, and this is what causes this disruption and divided community, because we have that divided community. So, and then you have players that are, well, like, when I create a build, it's going to be fully created, you know, right? So I want to put 10 catalysts. I don't feel like I have a build unless I have 10 catalysts in my descendant, you know, because I want it, whatever that build is, I want it to be fully fleshed out. And then all of a sudden everything's really easy. And I understand Warframe to have that same problem. When I bring this subject up, I hear from Warframe players, they say, oh, you haven't played Warframe. It's the same thing. You go from like this underpowered frame or whatever you call it over there to like everything is super easy, you know, and there's like nothing in between, you know. That's power fantasy. That is one philosophy of a game, you know. And so they're over here trying to tweak all of this content. They're trying to make harder content for different descendants. But it all started with Freyna. I mean, with Bunny. And so she sprouted the issue. It leaked over to Freyna, and it ends with Freyna. Uh, and so I was saying earlier that they've made comments where making it sound like maybe they don't nerf Freyna, maybe they do. I believe that they are going to make some changes to her kit because she does officially break the game. You know, and the problem is that people bought Freyna, and that's a hard thing to do. So how are they going to manage that? I don't know. And so my feeling is they're going to definitely wait to do it once people are like moved on from Freyna, right? So we're going to have Ultimate Sharon. They're coming out with this Keelan dude. He's going to be really exciting. And don't you find it interesting that he's also toxic? That he's also got the toxic abilities. So are they going to migrate people from the Freyna platform to the Keelan platform, and then sometime down the road, when things have cooled down, they'll come back and rebalance Freyna? I don't really know, but I have a feeling that's probably how it's going to go. You know, because that seems pretty damn tactical of a move, pretty smart to come up with another toxic descendant right after we got an ultimate toxic descendant. Why would they do that? You know what I mean? It's just, why wouldn't they come up with that fire descendant right now? You know? And then the other two happen to be electric. And so if Bunny was the one that started this issue, does Bunny also get a quote unquote rework? So if you just think, I know this is all conspiracy crazy shit, but it's just funny coincidence that the two strongest descendants in the game are, one is electric and one is toxic. The next three descendants we're getting are electric and toxic. And they're not going to be as powerful as the last two. So it's just, yeah, I have a feeling that's how it's going to work out. Whatever. You know, it's not the biggest issue for me anymore because, I mean, if they opened up like matchmaking modes and stuff like that, then it'd be a little bit smoother. But what it's turned the game into for me is it's turned it into a solo play, you know, because it's boring to go into a mission and everybody is running fucking Freyna. Everybody. It's just like, and you know, it sort of creates resentment to other players because you start going like, oh, aren't you guys fucking creative? You can't think of another descendant to play with? You realize there's a bunch of them, right? Like, it just kind of gets like that. You just want to stand there in that one spot at the top of the hill and throw your skill once every 5 minutes. That's what you want to do? That's what you're playing this game for? That's why you're buying skins? So you can do that? That's what you call action? That's exciting? It's not. You know, it's really not. Like, it's like, I don't even remember playing that last mission I just played until I got to the boss room. I remember the boss fight, because that's where most of the action was. But I killed maybe, what, 600-700 enemies getting to the boss, and I don't even remember. I don't even remember doing it. And that's what Freyna is. She's easy, you know? She's not fun. I think she's broken. I think she's ruined. But that's for me. And so some people love that, and that's the problem. So you have people that say, well, she's breaking the game. You have the other people saying, well, she's the only reason why I'm playing the game. So what do you do with that? You know? Yeah, I created a build for her. It's pretty. They're all pretty common. I think most people are running, basically, like, you could take this build is set up so that you can run any mod on her. So any of the Transcendent mods. So you can run any of these mods with her, and you're good to go. I mean, there's one that I've never tried. I forget which one it is. Maybe I have tried them all. Toxic Mixture. Yeah. This is the one that I've never used. But yeah, I mean, so the question is, do you need all this power? No. So you could probably take off, if you wanted more HP or health, you could take off Decimator and put on more health. Because as you can see, I'm running a glass cannon on her. So I only got 8,000 in health down here. But it wasn't an issue until I got to the boss room, you know. And then from there, it probably wasn't an issue either, but I was kind of being lazy. So, because I don't use her very much. anymore. Andre, appreciate you.
Did we just become best friends? Welcome to the Players Club.
Be sure to head over to my YouTube page and check out the members playlist there. Lots to enjoy. Appreciate you, Andre. So, you know, so she's a glass cannon, but I've realized the reason why I've made her that way is because she slaughters everything. So you don't really need a bunch of health, in my opinion. And then if you're going to play in group, you definitely don't need as much health, because now you're really overpowered. Because a group play, there's no scaling, so it just gets easier when playing with friends. So, yeah, Damien, the cycle could very well continue, but they have their eye on it, so I think they're trying to put a stop to it. You know, they're trying to plug that leak in the game. There were whole discussions on it. It comes up in the Q&A a lot. I've been tracking it closely because it's a big deal. It's actually make it or break it for the game for me. You know, because the question is, because Freyna forced me into a solo player position. Like, it's not fun playing in group anymore because everybody's using Freyna. And so, and that's annoying because I'm looking for a good fight, not easy mode. So it forced me into solo play, which is okay because I'm not really here to play with other people. I'm here for the fight. But I'd rather be playing in group mode. If I could, I would love to see some cool synergies going on. You know what I mean? So I would love to see some of that. But, you know, it's not the end of the world that I don't have that. But does it come to a point where I run out of solo player game? You know what I mean? Like this new content, they've expressed that it can be done solo, but it's easier in a group mode. So they've made it so it can be they made it accessible for solo. So there's that. That's good. Special ops, they're making those harder, and they're opening it up for solo mode. So that's also good. So they are expanding solo mode. So that's good. But Freyna, this issue could drive me out of the game at some point, right? If they make Keelan stronger than, or as strong, if he's as strong as Freyna, then everybody's going to be running Keelan too. And I expect everybody to run Keelan also. Anyways, just because he's new. Sure, I will be running Keelan, right? And the problem is if Keelan puts the game on easy mode, which is not Keelan's fault anymore. At this stage, it's the content's fault because they had the opportunity, right? They've had the opportunity. Freyna now sets the bar. The content needs to be hard enough for Freyna. That's a weird issue. Because, well, what if my favorite character is not Freyna? What if my favorite character is Jaber? Just as an example, right? Then I can't use Jaber in this content because he's going to feel really weak because it's set to the bar of an overpowered descendant, which is Freyna. You know what I mean? So if they're using Freyna as the bar and the new content is tailored to Freyna, then I expect Keelan to be just as strong as Freyna. Yeah, well, I want the power and I want a challenge. That's weird, right? But it's not like Sharon. People will judge Sharon, for example. Like I'll play Sharon and she takes like on average 15 minutes to clear a 400% dungeon. You know, 15 minutes. And some people will be like, well, dog that, right? They'll be like, oh, my Sharon, my friend can do that in like 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes. You know, it's just like, okay, true. But the reality is that 15 minutes isn't a long time. It's not. And Sharon is powerful. She is powerful. She one strikes the entire fucking room and she doesn't even have to be in it. You know what I mean? Like, she is powerful. But she's not Freyna, you know, and so that's the thing. And that's why I feel like it's appropriate to say that Freyna's overpowered. Because Sharon is powerful and everybody says that Freyna's stronger, which she is. And so it's like, well, then that makes Freyna overpowered because Sharon's fucking strong. I mean, when she's in ambush mode and she hits that boss in the head with her sniper, good night, you know? And she's invisible. I mean, with my Sharon build, like I'm hardly running any HP. And I probably have more than I need. Yeah, 13 million. I have more than I need. Look at these two external components are equipped for HP, but I don't really need it. I just don't have anything else better to put on. I don't need the 4-set annihilation. I could, but she hit so hard, I don't need to. Even on her build, I'm using shot focus, and she's mostly a skill player. So I can put HP there if I wanted to. So I can drive her HP up to 20 million. Easy 20 million. But she's invisible all the time. She doesn't take that much damage. And there were some times that I died, but it was just me being stupid. You know? She hits fucking hard. But yeah, but Freyna is faster. She is strong as shit. And so if you don't take it based on time, then she's an equivalent. But if you judge everything based on time, which is a good metric, what else are you going to use? Then Freyna is powerful, more powerful, you know. But she's strong. Like, I wouldn't not call her weak. I think all the descendants are strong, though, aren't they? So it's not really unique. I mean, Blair's strong. Jaber's strong, right? Jaber's arguably on the bottom of the totem pole, but the reality is he can solo anything. I mean, he's not unique. He doesn't really bring anything to the table, but the art of distraction, you know what I mean? Which is an interesting way to get a power up because you can use Passionate Sponsor. Yeah, Thunder Cage is pretty good for everybody. Like, Bunny right now is pretty good. Like, if you want to make her a really good mobber for those dungeons, she could do pretty good. But I find she struggles in that boss room a lot. She's way too glassy in the boss room. Within a group, it's not a problem. But when you're solo and you're taking all of the heat, you stop for 1 second. I mean, 1 second and you're gone. Those bosses hit really hard. Yeah, so this is all really interesting stuff, and I'm excited to be talking about it 3 months from now, to be honest with you. Like, I think by season 3, a lot of this stuff will be behind us. I think the whole purpose of this, I forget the name of it, the new dungeon, the ship, that new dungeon, like, that the whole purpose of that new dungeon is, I think, supposed to be the settling issue for people just like me. And for people that are like you, that are saying the game is too easy, there's not enough content. Now, I don't expect it to solve it all in one update. I don't. But I really hope that it sheds light on the subject going forward. Because the 400% did. That was the right move there. Didn't it for you guys? For me, it did. Like, if we didn't have these 400% operations, I don't think I'd be playing the game anymore. It's the only thing I play. Everything else I play because I have to. I don't go into special ops because there's always a Freyna in there and she makes it boring, you know? So I don't do this because I can't do it solo. So when they make this solo again, I'll go back in there. But they are making them harder, which is good too. So Freyna, that's a Freyna stop. So they're coming up with things to stop Freyna, which is silly. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe people are talking about nerfing Freyna. Well, when they have to come up with content to stop Freyna, that's silly. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. You know, let's just be realistic. You have to be realistic, you know? Take one for the fucking team. Because my point is, you know, if you really want to protect your Freyna, you need to protect the game. And the devs can't shit out new dungeons every 2 minutes. You know, it's not a realistic expectation. You know, the problem is that it's not the player's fault, it's the dev's fault. So it's the devs that need to take one for the team. Here is the point, right? And so, but everything is being set. It's an unsustainable way of managing a game, and everybody knows that. Yeah, that's right, Ted. That's right. That's right. I mean, that's a better way to put it. It is. Is it fun or not? And for me, somewhere between hard and easy is fun, right? And everybody, it's a little bit different, and that's why you have in the Division 2, as an example, we have different difficulty levels to cater to different definitions of fun. We have normal mode, story mode, challenging, obviously there's hard, challenging, heroic, and then legendary, and then they're coming up with a whole new one because the audience does mature, and then we're gonna have this mastery difficulty or some shit. And so the problem with this one is you have easy mode and you have hard mode, and hard mode is easy. So what does that make normal mode? Before easy, you know? And easy, normal mode felt hard when we started because our descendants were basic. But you get beyond that real quick, and that's why I was telling everybody, like, that's why I say to people, you know, like, well, you know, when they say it's hard for you because you have everything unlocked. Well, the truth, I mean, it's easy for you because you have everything unlocked. That's what people say, right? But you'll be there too. And so you want people fighting on your behalf because you're going to get there. You're going to get to the point where you have your descendant with 10 catalysts, and you're going to say the game is easy. And it's like, well, where were you 6 months ago when we were having this conversation? You were saying it's not easy. Don't touch it, you know? So it's hard to see that. It's hard to look outside of your own perspective sometimes and put yourself in other people's shoes. And you bring up a good point about it's got to be fun. I can't tell you what's fun. I don't know what's fun for you. You know, you don't know what's fun for me, except I just explained it. You know what I mean? So yeah, the devs have to consider different definitions of fun. And it just comes down to how well do they know their audience? Who is their audience? And they do have to pick a side. But there's always going to be within that audience a split subcategories of that person, you know. Modules are really important. I think are part of the answer. Build diversity is part of the answer. It's a complicated solution in the end. I think, you know, it shouldn't just be about nerfing Freyna. You know, but if the answer was to be nerf Freyna, that's because the question became about time. And so if they're losing players so fast because they can't create content that's engaging enough, then that's when there'll be pressure to nerf Freyna. And so they don't have pressure at the moment because they're about to roll out a bunch of new content. And that's going to distract people. People are going to come back and give it a try. It's going to be exciting. And it might even fix the problem. It might even be hard enough where the people that are looking for a challenge can go in there, group up, and there be a Freyna, and she doesn't ruin it for them. It might fix the problem. And then they know, like, well, great. This type of content is the solution. We'll create more of it. We'll build upon it. They said this, I think it was today's stream, maybe a different one, but they said they're gonna study how this goes, this multivariable map within the same dungeon. So this dungeon is gonna rotate its map randomly when we go in there. So it's not gonna generate a new tile. It's not gonna be randomly generated. It's gonna be randomly selected out of preset maps. So it will have that variable feeling. And if it works, they're going to apply that to other types of content that we already have. Maybe the open world, maybe something else. I don't know. Other dungeons. So they'll be studying it and then implementing it. So I think that the only nerf Freyna, if push comes to shove and this initial launch doesn't go hard. So that's good. Otherwise, I think they're just putting out gentle feelers and warnings out there. We're considering it very carefully. We're very conservative about nerfing, and I believe them. Yup, Ted, and that's ridiculous. I think that's the worst problem, Ted. I think that's the worst problem. When you are, okay, there's two reasons. Like when there's no, well, there's just one. When you go into a mission and there's no Freyna and then you see somebody instantly leave, I'm like, you pussy. I was like, you know what I mean? These special ops are not hard. You can go in there with 4 Jabers and clean up. And like, in still about the same time, maybe a couple of minutes longer. It's really hard to fail those special operations. I mean, Fortress is king of the hill. You don't even have to fucking move. They all come to you. And so when I see somebody leave because there's no Freyna, the time it takes them to find a next match, you know, they would have, by staying, they would have equated the same finish time, basically. Whatever. I think it's a pussy move, man. You're gonna bounce and match make because this particular run would have cost you an extra 2 minutes, maybe, because you would have had to shoot your gun and you didn't want it. You wanted to just stand there and AFK. That's a bad sign, man. The update's on the 5th, so the game will be down the day before. So get your farming in early. You know, I was thinking about it. This has got there's an interesting audience in this game. And, you know, there's a lot of trolls, you know, I'm noticing. And also, there's trolls in every game. It's the internet, right? But I'm just like, is it worse in free-to-play games? The type of community that is around? Do you think it's worse? I'm having a feeling that free-to-play games attract all the riffraff. You probably in free-to-play games get a lot more of that. This comment is fucking hilarious. And you know which one I'm about to say, right? People still play this stupid game? Oh, is there a game in the world that doesn't get that comment? Because that's the one I need to go try. I mean, Minecraft is like one of the world's most successful games, and I think people are still saying that. I mean, the game could be brand new, and people are saying people still playing this game? This game is trash. It's like, who are you? Do you just go? I feel like there's a team of people who have conspired to go around the internet and just put that comment on every video game video, because there's a lot of videos made out in the world on video games every day, right? Thousands of videos a day on video games, and each one of those has that comment. They're probably one of them. Romance scenario. That's a big tall order. I think the romance scenario is a little bit awkward in the game. I'm not against it, but I saw it in Starfield and it was a little awkward. You know, I felt awkward. And I'm very open-minded. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very open-minded, but there were some awkward situations. Like, this is weird. You know what I mean? It's breaking my experience a little bit because it's not what I'm looking for. You know, like when I play my video game, I don't want to be a dude having romance with another dude. And I don't have anything against that. You know what I mean? But it's just not what I'm looking for out of my video game. You know what I mean? And it's just like, but because of the romance mechanic, you have to, or you want to unlock this dude, you know, because he's a good companion. He gives you these power-ups in Starfield. I forget his name, the cowboy guy. And he's basically like Blair in this game. But he's a really cool character. And he gives you, I think, more cargo capacity for your ship or something like that. if you unlock him. But then you get into these awkward romantic situations with him, you know, because of the romance mechanic. And you know, like if you cuddle with him, you'll get more HP. There's shit like that in the game. Like if you cuddle with him in the bed, you get more HP. And of course you want more HP, so you get in these weird situations. You know? And like I'm saying, I'm open-minded and you know, you do what you gotta do, but it's just like, it's not what I want out of my video game, you know? It's just like, I'd rather just not have that system because it's forced. Gay Space Cowboy. Gay, what is that movie called? Gay, yeah, it was Brokeback Mountain, but in space. It starts with a rough tussle in a tent, you know? Next thing you know, you're spooning. But I get the idea, and I think it's cool. I mean, you know, they were all talking about this girl today. Did you hear that? When they were looking for who do they want to be the next descendant, and a lot of them were saying Kate. The directors liked Kate. I don't know. I don't see it for me personally. I mean, I get that she can be hot, but nah. A little too bouncy for me. Like Luna, like I'm not a big fan of Luna, you know. I don't want to hit the trigger and, you know, and dance and play, you know, pick up the beat while I'm fucking slaughtering people. I just don't want to do that. I don't. Do any of you guys genuinely like Luna? I'm not hating. I just don't see it, you know? Like if I was a kid and she'd bubblegum, again, not hating, but like if you love Luna, I don't want to insult you, but I'm just saying, like, I just don't get it for me, you know? And I like running sexy descendants. I like that. Like, if you call that anti-woke, I guess I'm anti-woke. I call it video gaming. I mean, when I played Dead or Alive, yeah, I chose the hot chick. You know what I mean? Like, she was cooler to use. She was fast, and she knew Aikido. You know what I mean? Like, I liked it. And she had jiggle physics. And, like, I didn't vote for jiggle physics. Like, I wasn't asking for it, but I'm glad they went for it. Because it's also a reality thing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't think it should be over the top or ridiculous, anything like that. But it can be done tastefully, but it's more immersion for the game. Like, I don't like our skin in this game. Like, the skin looks like a Barbie doll plastic. And I think the texture of the skin should look better. Like, I'm impressed with Eve from that game, which I just... Stellar Blade. I mean, she looks fucking impressive, man. I mean, her moves, the fluidity of her moves are beautiful. And she has jiggle physics. You know what I mean? And so it's just awesome. It's just great. It's just realistic. You know? It's not like I'm going to do backflips so I can look at her jiggles. You know what I mean? All day long. But it's not going to hurt to have a good looking, you know, reality in part of your game. You know what I mean? And it's just like... the skin tones and everything and her fluidity. And yeah, you know, when she sways left, her body acts accordingly. You know, and I like that. I like that. I think that's awesome. You know, does that also mean the dude's balls are going to sway back and fro? You know, to and fro. But I'm merciless. I was Miss Celeste. Sorry. It looks like Merciless. But did I guess right? Or is it Miss Celeste? I was pleased. I was pleased mostly about what I saw about Keelan and the dungeon. I feel like that was the new stuff. A lot of the stuff I had already been exposed to from their other stream and the interviews. So I feel like there wasn't a lot I learned, but definitely not disappointed. It's mostly about, wow, these devs are giving us FaceTime. I did get more details on this and that. And so I think they did a really good job. And from this point forward, I would hope to see an increase in frequency and a decrease in duration, and just load us up with more facts and visuals. Well, or maybe not as many visuals. I think probably what will slow these devs down on their FaceTime with this is by incorporating visuals, and that means everything has to be flushed out. But to give us news, you shouldn't have to have that. You know, maybe a still picture is good enough or whatever. But yeah, I loved it. Loved it. And that's the beginning of many. Now, they said it'll be quiet between now and delivery because they're going to be heads down focused on delivery. So I don't expect much more than what we've already seen, but it's awesome. I think Keelan's going to be awesome. I think I'm really excited to get my hands on that new dungeon. Why would you cancel Stellar Blade? Yeah, the First Descendant is working on a collaboration. They did say that in the stream. Obviously, they can't tell us who, but they say, you know, don't expect it anytime soon because these take a long time. They have to negotiate contracts and then, you know, everything else that comes after, all the development. But if we're lucky, maybe season 3. And I think that's what everybody wants to see is Stellar Blade. No, but Stellar Blade's aesthetics actually makes me interested in that game. I do judge a book by its cover. You know, the reason why I'm not playing it is because of its combat style. I forget the way they described it. I don't have the words for it. But it's not my combat style. The First Descendant is actually a little bit more my combat style. I have a couple of different ways I like to play it, not just one. But the First Descendant hits one of those. Like, I love going through those dungeons and slaughtering 400 people and then taking a pause to pull out my sniper and hit somebody in the head. Or if you notice, there were so many times when I was running those dungeons where I was using my perforator. I didn't have to use my perforator. I could have gone invisible and thrown out my swords, but I wanted to mix in my gunplay. I wanted to, you know, and so I love that mix between throwing out. I think that's my ultimate fantasy, as a matter of fact. Like, back in the day, I watched a Warframe promotional video. It might have been the original one, but where they were showing this guy jump out of an airplane and land in the field, and there's like 1,000 monsters in the field, and he's going through and with his ninja stars and samurai sword, and he's dicing them, and he's throwing grenades, and he's shooting, and he's doing slides and spins and cuts, and it was amazing. It was thrilling. It was high, fast paced and action orientated, you know? And that's the kind of game that I want. I want to slice somebody with my samurai, and then I want to turn around and shoot them in the face with my pistol, if that makes any sense. That's how I want to play. You know, I want to go through, that's why I've been attracted to Sharon from the beginning of the game, is because she's kind of got some of that in her. You know, she can slice and dice, and I just want it to be smoother. Like, I would love to be able to, like when I'm jumping off of a high point, I want to be able to slice my sword in motion while I'm in a grappling hook. You know, like when you're railing in with your grappling hook, I want to be able to slice my sword while I'm grappling at the same time. Like, increase her connection points. Connect her connecting points, I guess I would say. Increase her fluidity. And I think we're getting that with Ambush, the new mod. So not the grappling part, but now you don't have to stop to go invisible, because invisible will automatically trigger when you get your kill. And so that will mean you don't have to press that button. You can press a different button instead, maybe your sword button, or stay on trigger. And so that will be really cool. But that's the game that's the fantasy I'm looking for out of any of my games, even the Division 2. Like, I would love a melee that worked in the Division 2, where you could just, like, you know, bounce somebody with your shield and then hit them with your pistol, you know? or maybe swing a hunter axe or something. But Warframe appeared to be that way, but then when I watch people's gameplay in Warframe, like I was just watching one the other day when they came out with this new buff on a couple of characters, a rework on a couple of characters. There was a video out on it, and I watched it, and the character, I think it was a girl. She was kind of like a samurai girl, and she kind of floats. She never touches the ground, and it felt weird. It was like, is she a ghost? I mean, she's never touching the ground. The graphics aren't that cool in Warframe. Sorry if I'm saying that, but it just doesn't look that cool. It's kind of, it's like really busy, and it's kind of archaic, and you know, I don't know. And the First Descendant needs a lot of work too. I mean, they need to fill in the voids, right? There's a lot of emptiness in this game. And I think environmentals make a difference to me too. You know, like some of these maps, when we go into like Echo Swamp, the hazy swamp down below, like that's a really nice map. Vespers is kind of nice too. There's waterfalls. You know, White Knight Gulch has some nice areas here and there. But like, you know, half of our maps are just this boring desert. Or even Kingston has got structures, but the area is just empty. And then every now and again, you got this random 3 enemies walking through. You know, it just feels lifeless. And Agna. Yeah, exactly. And the fortress, too, technically, right? It's just snow. It's kind of cool, though. Fortress is a little bit better. It's really weird because, you know, I just feel like they should know in an open world game that the world matters. And they've adopted what some of these other games have that I don't play, which is the dungeon. So they don't work on the world, they work on one dungeon at a time. Right? But the dungeons have the same feeling as the rest of the world in many of these cases, you know? The hatchery is the worst. I fucking hate the hatchery. Yeah, you're not the first person to say Jeremy, Carrie. Yeah, Ted, in a couple of ways, like Grumpy said, you get access to SoundCloud, so I upload them on the SoundCloud. So in SoundCloud, they're just waveform or MP3s that you can download, and I give you the ability to download them. But depending on your YouTube membership, like with YouTube themselves, I think you might be able to have offline mode too. But the YouTube versions are like more like music videos. You know what I mean? Like I put visuals behind it also. Division 2 inspired visuals, sorry. And then I don't know if YouTube lets you download, but I feel like they have an offline mode, don't they? But either way, the answer is yes. Oh, I have had this music turned off the whole time, haven't I? Speaking of which. And then I think we have 14 volumes right now, maybe 15. Not due for another one here soon, too, actually. I'm trying to think when I made the last one. I try to do one every season at least. They're about an hour long each, give or take. Yeah, so December 5th. Oh, well, I guess it's midnight. Should probably call it. All right, folks. Well, thanks for hanging in there with me and listening to that very long stream. I'm going to dig into that and pull out some interesting nuggets for you we'll talk about it. I'm also going to come up with a better roadmap for us, because their roadmap is, there's a lot of Korean in there. It hurts my brain. So I'll try to get that out for Monday morning. All right, everybody, take it easy. Thanks for hanging out.